Hi everyone, welcome to Third Coast Gaming Radio. Today is February 21st. It is Sunday. It is episode 19. I'm joined by Austin Taylor, and our power is back finally. It's great. For those who didn't know, it snowed in Texas. It was very pretty. And then hours after it snowed, our power went out for 2 days. And then, whatchamacallit, who was it? Was it Ted Cruz went to Cancun? Because he was like, yeah, I don't want to be here for this.
Yeah,
He's a fucking son of
yeah,
a bitch.
yeah. I mean, so yeah, we get a significant amount of snow that takes down the power grid because the privatization of the Texas power grid led to people just deciding that they didn't need to take sort of precautions that would keep the grid from falling apart under this kind of weather. And about 2 days into the very large power outage that affected about 4 million Texans. Uh, Across the state, Ted Cruz decided that he was going to leave for Cancun on a vacation.
And among that, the power grid bought the extra power at an exorbitant cost, so they're trying to. Someone got like a power bill for like $1,000 or some shit. So they're trying to
Yeah,
put it out on us, and I think our mayor's like, nah, you ain't gonna do that. So he's trying to do something with it right now.
yeah. It's it is not surprising to me that it will be on customers to sort of compensate these companies for their absolute failures and the failures of the state of Texas and its government.
Yeah, besides that, I played my 3DS a lot when the power was out, so I made do with what I had, I guess. And I ate lots of cold soup.
Yeah, we didn't have like power for those 2 days, and we didn't get power to like back to like late Wednesday. So we did a lot of canned foods that we had in our pantry, and we still had some gas, so we were able to cook like the food that was gonna go bad. So we were all right in my house.
Nice. I think we got drunk and played Monopoly again. Although it might have just been my
Yeah.
mom. Very salty Monopoly. Oh, and God, we watched a whole season of Better Call Saul because my work was like, we're not doing this till Friday. So
Yeah.
that was the time.
People died.
It's true.
It sucks. This is I hate
It
this.
was bad. They should have. I was thinking about it and I was like, well, if there will be eventually snow, why didn't you build the power system like it was up north? 'Cause I'm thinking, was it like a cheaper power system that they had set up?
It is. Well, the thing is Texas exists on its own grid, right? We do not like exist on the federal like power grid. The most of Texas exists on an independent grid in order to avoid air quote interference from the federal government. It's a
Yes.
it's ridiculous, and because we're not on the nation's grid, we were not able to like draw power from other states. We did not have like the benchmarks in place that say like they need power grid. This power grid needs to be able to operate under these kind of conditions, and we only ever gave companies that work under ERCOT to the option to do that, and a lot of them did. Most didn't.
Well,
So we were not prepared for this, and no one was given any sort of warning beforehand. We were given a boil water advisory after everyone had lost power, and a lot of people had lost water because they couldn't keep their houses heated, and so the pipes froze because they didn't have any power, and it's ridiculous.
yeah, it was very bad. I hope they change some stuff. I know I'm gonna definitely get some whatchamacallit, some little cookers or whatever they're called, little gas cookers. Prepare for next year because global warming. It's probably gonna be cold next year too. It's like February. It's always February. It's never December.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it stuns me that I live in this house with my parents, who I both consider to be very smart people, and I respect very much. Before like we'd even gotten power back, they were talking about how this will probably never happen again, and I was livid.
Yeah, it'll probably happen again.
Yeah, so I mean, we'll see if the Texas government does anything about this. I don't know. I think the best thing that we can hope for is that Ted Cruz is probably not going to survive the next election.
No, him and all the other Republicans can get fucked, honestly. All right, besides politics, the Mortal Kombat trailer came out. Fucking Ted Cruz, motherfucker. Put Ted Cruz on an island and see if he can fight to the death with ninjas. Let's go.
Shouldn't use. I don't think it should survive there, considering.
Yeah. That was a cool trailer.
Yeah.
I was into it.
Yeah, Mortal Kombat is a thing. It's a movie that's coming out.
Yeah. Did you watch that first movie? That first movie's not bad.
I did. It's not great. It's just like, it's fun. Like, it's probably the best movie I've seen from Paul W.S. Anderson.
I'll agree with that completely. This new one looks fucking. Jax just gets his arms ripped off in the trailer.
Dude, this is like, it looks like it's opening with Jax getting destroyed by Sub-Zero. It's pretty great.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I didn't expect Scorpion to just have his like chain hook as like a kunai with like whatever it's called, like a rope on it.
Like some sort of like Blades of Chaos type deal.
Maybe he'll Liu Kang has his fucking outfit. I didn't even realize that when I watched it originally. He's got his white and red outfit. This movie looks good.
Yeah, Raiden's not played by a Frenchman.
Yeah. Although I was pretty into it. Who's the one I liked?
Yeah, like
I like both actors were okay.
Christopher Lambert was like good, but it's a really weird. You get some really weird imagery when like Lambert walks into a Shaolin temple in like the first movie, and every monk just immediately begins bowing to him. You get some very like reminiscent of like colonialist like imagery when you do stuff like that, and it's weird.
Yeah, I do love Christopher Lambert's voice. It's very good though.
Oh, his voice is very
so
good.
scratchy.
I was very happy when they added his Raiden into, I think it's Broforce.
Oh yeah.
Is that really like? Was that very popular like 2D shooter game that was all like from Devolver Digital?
I think he got added to Mortal Kombat 11 along with some other people from that first movie too, as like voice packs.
I think so yeah, they had like a voice pack with like the person who played. Because I remember people were happy because they could change the voice of Sonya Blade in 11 from Ronda Rousey. Because Ronda Rousey's terrible.
Yes.
Both as an actor and a person.
Kano has a really good line. He's like...
Oh, yeah, he's just like... Yeah, which one?
Kano's like, oh, Kano wins, you fucking beauty. And he like crushes a heart in that trailer. Yeah, that was like the best part of the trailer. It's pretty good.
It's real good. It's really good. No, because the cast seems really cool. I like what I'm seeing here. This looks like I could have fun with it. It looks like it'll be a buck wild.
Yeah, and it'll be on fucking the you don't have to go to movie theaters to see it. It's just on HBO Max for that first month, I guess.
Yeah. Did you see Goro's glow up?
Yeah, Goro is very pretty. He's CG Goro.
Yeah. Never thought I'd be so happy.
Yeah. There's some other shit that was coming out. There's some lawsuits coming out for the DualSense PS5 controller having drift issues. I guess so this is with the analog sticks. That seems like kind of sucks. I don't know. I don't have a PS5, but that's kind of a bummer to have your first console come out being like that.
Yeah, and it's so strange because like I can kind of understand drift, like joystick drift coming out of Nintendo. Because like historically their controllers have always kind of felt like some cheaper toys, right? Like not to say that they've not like been well made in that way, but like when I look at a Nintendo controller, usually like mostly a Joy-Con, I think this looks like a toy. This is like the DualSense is this super expensive, like supposedly very high tech product and part of the PlayStation 5, and that's why they wouldn't let you use like a DualShock 4 with the PS5. So that this is getting drift is pretty wild to me.
Yeah, and this is the Kreiner and Donaldson Smith LLP filed a lawsuit, And I think there's some YouTube videos talking about why it was happening. I guess I'll have to see that other stuff. Yeah, I don't know. That kind of sucks for people. My Xbox is still in Amazon. Is delayed by Amazon indefinitely, so I don't think I'm ever gonna see that either. Maybe next week. We'll see. Valheim fucking blew up over like the last like 2 weeks. I saw someone streaming this like, what the fuck is this PS1 looking Viking game? And then you sit down and actually watch someone play it, and it's like this weird, not almost kind of. I've heard it described as a little bit of Dark Souls, a lot of Minecraft, and some Rust and Vikings. Have you checked this out at all?
Was I muted? I think I was.
I think you're muted. Yeah.
That's a bummer.
Valheim.
Yeah, the trailer on the top of this Verge article you sent me is really bad. I will say. Like, this does not make me want to play this game at all. But like, the more I read up in this write up following it, like, it seems, like the enemy difficulty, because there are enemies that populate this, I guess, island that you're on. The enemy difficulty seems like hard and challenging. But the thing about this game that seems really interesting is how easy some of its crafting looks and sounds.
Yeah, the crafting is really interesting. You just kind of go in there and you can make some stuff. You have to make like houses to sleep in. You have like beds like in Minecraft. It starts out as this like simplistic, like, you think it's like a crafting thing, and then you go off and you have to like summon bosses in these different areas, and your servers are procedurally generated as well. There's just a bunch of really cool shit going on in this game. You have to do like corpse runs when you die.
Yeah. And the other thing is, this doesn't seem like like you mentioned Rust, but this doesn't seem as hostile, because my understanding is that this is like you can easily like get into a private game where you're not like surrounded by was it 10 to 12 players on a server?
Yeah, you can make a private server and just play by yourself or with friends. I kind of want to buy this. The streams I've been watching, I was watching Giant Bomb play it, and I was having a very good time watching them go through it. Just this really interesting thing about the game that I saw was like, you have to go to the starter area basically, or you're gonna get fucked. Like, there's a marsh, that's like the first area, and then after you want to go to like the Black Forest, and then there's like the mountains after, and in each area there's a boss you have to summon to defeat. Like, the first one's like a deer head that you have to craft and then pray at, and it'll summon a boss up at you. I was also watching like ogres constantly attack their house and clip through, but not like destroy their house. It was very funny.
Yeah.
It's very good.
Yeah. Looking at this now, if they add like animal interaction into this during development, this is just going to become like a version of Wild we never got.
Yeah, and there is some like, there's like boars you can hunt and deer that you want to fight. Like, the boar will give you leather straps to make armor out of. The other comparison I heard is this feels like the early grinding of like WoW, where you're just beating up boars and trying to get your armor up and shit. And you're like, it's got like the Skyrim leveling, where it's like as you're sprinting more, you're leveling that up, and as you're blocking, those stats go up. But I think when you die, those stats reset. I don't know exactly. Hey, it's only $20, and it seems fucking rad as shit.
No.
What?
I don't know if I feel like you're one step away from trying to give me a sales pitch, and my answer is no.
Oh, it's fine. I'll solo it, and I'll come back with you. We'll see how it goes. If this had mechs that you could drop out of the air, maybe awesome.
Okay, yeah, but
a giant ogre that you climb into.
A meat mech.
Yeah, you can smoke yourself out in your house too if you don't put any like windows at the top, and you'll just die. It's really funny.
Yeah. Let's
see what was next on here. Oh yeah, that Direct came out, and I was really disappointed after. I think that's a couple other people were like that. Did you watch it?
Yeah, yeah. I saw the February direct that they dropped on like a couple of days ago. I mean, did I actually?
Skyward
Yeah,
Sword
I
on the
watched some of it.
Switch.
I
I wouldn't pay
I'd mess with
$60 for
that.
Skyward Sword. I want to mess with it, yeah.
Like I could see myself messing with Skyward Sword if only because like I am interested in seeing that the control scheme that they had to go with it because like the whole thing with Skyward Sword is that it was the game that would read all of the sword movements you'd make because it had the Motion Plus integrated into it. And I'm interested to see how they like worked around that on the Switch.
So you can use your Joy-Cons, and if you're docked or on
Like on the light,
on the
yeah.
light, you use the analog stick to swing your
Yeah,
sword.
for directional
Yeah.
like swipes and stabs.
Yeah.
It's interesting because this is like because that's the kind of work that you'd have to put into porting this game onto any other platform. And I don't know, I'm curious.
I know this is like the least favorite Zelda, but if it goes on sale, if it's like $30, I'd probably give it a shot. I want Wind Waker on Switch so bad. Give it to me. I was like praying. I was like, my two things I want is Wind Waker on Switch and the Pearl Diamond remake, but never gonna happen apparently.
I mean, if we're very lucky, they're gonna do a thing where they like release a Zelda collection, kind of like they did for the GameCube, right? Where it's like multiple games in a
Yeah, that'd
collection,
be pretty cool.
and Wind Waker will be in there along with like Majora's Mask HD.
Yeah, yeah.
Because this is a pretty big, well, I mean 3D, like off of the 3DS. Like this is a pretty big like benchmark year for Zelda.
35, right?
Yeah, yeah, big 3.5.
That Splatoon trailer was pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. I was kind of into the weird desert wasteland stuff that was going on, and this weird chicken that was bouncing up and down. But
Yeah,
Splatoon.
yeah, Splatoon still got attitude. I don't know
Yeah.
if I'll ever mess with it, but it was a really weird like way to frame this. I know people thought this was like more than Splatoon 3 for a little bit because it showed like this seemingly in-depth character creator.
Yeah, and then it's just like, oh, hey, it's just Splatoon 3, which
Yeah, it's
I don't know. I feel the same way, whereas like I don't think it's for me, but I'm really happy for the people who really like it.
I have a cousin who likes Splatoon, and I know he'll be excited.
I want to play the single player for it. Like that's at least something I want to do. Just play the single player for Splatoon 2 at some point.
I remember hearing that was actually good. Like that was actually pretty good. Like, like puzzle campaign.
Yeah. Let's see. Here's some of the quick ones. Fall Guys coming to Switch. Outer Wilds coming to Switch. Neon White, which is a Annapurna first-person shooter.
Card focused first person shooter.
Yeah. What's the trailer for that? I don't remember anything
From what,
about
Neon
that
White?
trailer at all. It's by the people who made Donut County. Yeah. What else is in
Yeah, so
here?
it's this like Steve Blum like anime voiceover as you like are going through these environments and using cards to like stagger change your attacks and
Oh,
gain
that's
weapons.
right. It's the card one.
Yeah.
This game looked fucking dope. That's right. I am really into that card thing. I want to
There's
fuck
something
with
about
this. I would rather this be on a PC than a Switch, but we'll see how it goes.
yeah.
Oh, and
There's something about like
the animal people too. Yeah.
yeah, there's something about like the UI aspect of cards that does turn me off, even though I know it's like functionally the same thing as like here's a limited drop on a map in like an arcade shooter.
Yeah, yeah. I just like how fast this like your movement seems to fucking be. Like it's like a little doomy. It's the way it makes me think of. Let's see what else was on here. Project Triangle was the successor to Octopath Traveler and Knockout City. What was Knockout City?
It's that like sports,
I was like,
like where they're passing a ball
yeah,
and like hitting teams with it. It looks like an
it's
extreme dodgeball.
extreme dodgeball. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, 1 second, I gotta blow my nose.
Travis is blowing his nose. This is a part that might be cut. Who knows?
Nah. I don't know. As a direct, it happened. Oh yeah, they got the that Animal Crossing thing for the Zelda items, which that seems pretty cool, man.
Yeah, I know the thing like walking away from it, I think the thing like people I know were most excited for is the like re-release of Legends of Mana.
Oh yeah, that PS1 Mana game. Yep. Oh,
Yeah,
and
but
Tales from the
that really looks
Borderlands is
like
coming to Switch as well.
yeah, it is.
Quote unquote the best. I forgot their studio.
Telltale.
Yeah, Telltale game.
Yeah. I mean, that's whoever said that sounds like a very smart
I
person.
wonder who said. Oh yeah, and Stubbs the Rebel Zombie is getting a fucking Switch release. God,
I'd never heard of Stubbs before.
it's a banger, dude. It's built off the Halo engine.
Oh, excuse.
Yeah, and there's like there's straight up warthogs in that game. It's really fucking weird. I wonder if it's on Steam at all, actually. But that game's got co-op, and you can take your head off and use it as a bowling ball, and you roll it and it murders. It's just some weird co-op game I played with my brother back in the day. It was like Xbox only. It's got a bunch of tracks from like the 50s that are like remade by like kind of pop punk bands from like the early 2000s and shit.
It sounds like the kid-friendly version of like a shooter that came out a while ago, where you played as a uh, dude who would be disassembled when he was hit.
Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about.
I
Yeah.
don't remember the name of that video game, but I
Ah,
do remember that sales pitch being wild.
Never Dead.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. This is better than Never Dead.
Well,
I think
that's
Stubbs
good.
was also rated M, but it was just like
Oh,
not Never Dead. It wasn't some cringy fucking like what's the word? Edgelord white protagonist guy. You're just a zombie. This
yeah,
has
I
a hack. You
see.
can hack and slash people. Oh, your arm just came off, and you're just getting power ups and Never Dead. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Very weird. No, Stubbs was cool. It had a bunch of moments where you were just like, so okay, there was a bunch of townspeople in each level, and you would bite
Yeah.
them, and they would turn into zombies. So at some point in the game, you would have like 20 zombies following you around, while
Oh,
you were basically taking areas with all these zombies, pretty much, along with like these weird long. They feel like Halo areas where you're just in the warthog. It's like this hover car with like a minigun in the back, but it's basically the warthog and it controls exactly the same. And you're just running through like mowing enemies down. It's wild.
interesting.
This other news, this Diablo 2 trailer was pretty cool. I like how they just show how like up-resed it looks. I might fuck with this. You can
Yeah,
play as Kratos in the middle.
I don't know. That's a Dave Batista to me.
It's Batista Kratos actually.
Yeah. I mean, they put him in Gears, so why not put him in
Yeah, he
Diablo?
really doesn't
Um,
look like it. I could play some Diablo 2. I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know. Like this doesn't interest me in the way that I know like in the way that it wants to, and whether that just be my general disinterest in like in punk Christian iconography, uh, or Activision Blizzard in general. I'm not feeling this.
Yeah, and I think this was from their it wasn't BlizzCon, but it was just some bunch of big Blizzard announcements that was going on. You have some Baldur's Gate 3 stuff happen as well. If you wanna talk about it.
Sure, we'll move past BlizzCon and get to the real stuff. Oh yeah, so
Yes.
Baldur's Gate 3 got is will soon have its fourth major patch, which adds the first new character class into the game, being the Druid, who within D&D rule functionality is a basically a wizard who uses nature magic, right? So instead of someone who is drawing from the air, like the ethereal otherworldly powers that exist within D&D lore, you are someone who's drawing like strength from nature itself, which allows you to transform into big animals. And the druid is also, with animal shape added in, is probably one of the most easy to break classes within D&D, in my experience.
Yeah. It seems cool. It's got some stuff.
Yeah, you can become a giant badger.
Ooh, who doesn't want to
I
be a
look forward to
badger?
seeing how I can mess with this when patch forward lands. Because it's also adding like a number of really interesting, um, what is the phrase? Quality of life improvements, like loaded dice, right? So when you're going through and making certain decisions, Baldur's Gate 3 will present you with a die roll on screen, and you can choose to have these dice be loaded in your favor, or sort of stay away from certain like ranges of numbers after a certain amount of rolls, like bad rolls or good rolls. It seems interesting. I want to see how they're going to implement that within the game.
It's kind of like being like the nice DM. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, you're kind of fudging rolls for the player, and that's what I want to see, because there are no persuasion attributes that you can really like put points into to affect an outcome within Baldur's Gate 3 so far, and within D&D rules, outside of persuade, like the persuasion stat that you can dump into, but you have to be like within D&D at least level, I'd say 10, before you can put enough points to where it is significantly stacked in your favor.
Yeah.
And that's for like certain classes, right? So like a bard or a I believe it's rogue can get proficiency in that too.
Mm.
Yeah, but I want to see how you can use that to affect outcomes within what they've have here in early access so far.
Yeah. There's they had a big, it's like a 38-minute video behind the scenes of Overwatch 2, and yo, this shit looks real cool. They had some. They're showing off. I'm kind of watching the video at the same time. Is they have a skill tree for the PVE modes, and the PVE modes are kind of these horde based like hero missions that you get. And then there's a new character that they're showing off. I could be ready to fuck with some Overwatch. I really like Overwatch because I think it does, like, it turns like, it makes like League of Legends, but it's a shooter on consoles. This is the way I always think about it, and I think it translates that like chaos of like League of Legends, like team fight matches really well. Just like a bunch of powers going off at the same time.
Yeah, um, I have never I've never been into Overwatch. Uh, like going through the beta, and I think they've had at least three free weekends. I've never gotten the hang of it, or like understood why anyone wanted to spend like the amount of time people spend in Overwatch. But looking at the PvE stuff, if this is expanded in a way that like I think is interesting and is as deep as I would like it to be, I could see myself messing with like the PvE content of Overwatch 2 at some point.
Yeah, and I think the pitch for 2 was that it's like, yeah, if you own the first game, you still get access to these servers.
Yeah, yeah, they're not going to separate the multiplayer component. All you're getting if you buy 2 for multiplayer are the updated cosmetic skins.
Yeah, so this seems like a new way to get people back into it. There's something very like, it's the same kind of grind I was feeling when I was playing League of Legends, where I wanted to get my personal like competitive like ranks up, so you can you're leveling those up and you're getting loot boxes out of it, which Like, it's cool. You get more loot boxes, but it's always been like, oh, I'm getting from bronze to silver to gold, and I'm playing these stronger players, and I'm knowing that, like, you're a better team than they are, and that whenever you win, it's just like you're getting those endorphins off, and you're just like, oh yeah. That's the weirdest way I could explain it, but that's when you win an Overwatch match, Austin. It
Yeah,
feels
but
good.
that's also when I win a game in better shooters.
Hey, it's a pretty good shooter, Austin. It's a pretty good shooter.
Mm.
Hey, to each their own. I thoroughly enjoy the shooting in Overwatch. It's like, everyone's got their own tastes.
I've only ever enjoyed being the man with a big hammer.
The man with the big hammer is very good. I like Bastion a lot because he's got a minigun. There are a bunch of the
Bastion is kind
characters are
of the
fun.
thing that like pushed me away from that game's multiplayer.
Oh yeah, Bastion. You can take care of Bastion pretty well because like when you're in the games, you can change your characters out. So you're like, oh, I need
Yeah.
some range, so I'll go pick. I think her name was Anna. I'm trying to remember what the Overwatch character that's like the Western one who sends Bob out.
Um,
But she has like a repeater, and you have some range,
yes.
and you can just like
I
Ash,
believe her
yeah,
name is.
yeah. You have some range, so you can just like destroy.
Yeah, but that's now, right?
Yeah,
That wasn't launch. When it launched, Bastion was a horrid little thing.
yeah. You really had to like get some range on Bastion. You can get fucked against Bastion.
Yeah, and there wasn't a lot of opportunity for that at launch, is the thing. Like, especially considering it's a objective based thing, Bastion is really good at holding the locations where you need to like move an objective during the launch part of that game. Specifically, because a lot of these areas you move into were so closed. They were inside, so getting to a vantage point where you could safely snipe Bastion was nigh impossible.
Yeah, I'm guessing at launch is probably a lot more different. I just remember like at some point it shifted to where you're dropping. You have like a lot of shielded heroes. Like it was like you're using God, I can't remember. She was like the four-legged centaur, and she has a shield she puts up, and then you have like Diva shooting people at the same time, or Reinhardt. I don't know. I might this. It's been $20 on PS4. My friend plays a lot. I might go re-download Overwatch. So I like it. On the things I don't like, dude, this fucking 6 Days in Fallujah is coming back, and God, it's the stupidest fucking thing I've ever heard of.
Yeah, so
You
sort of,
you want to talk about it more? Because I think you were kind of reading up on some of these articles that were talking about it.
yeah,
But the
so
main thing I'll get is the director of it is like, we really want to tell this story in Fallujah specifically, where they the U.S. forces allegedly used. It's not. I don't know if it's been completely confirmed, but the white phosphorus things were coming out of that and stuff. I'll let you go on with it.
yeah, so this is, um, so 6 days, this is not the first time 6 days of Fallujah has been like a thing, right? Has been discussed. This was several years ago. I don't know the exact year, but this is a game that was going to be published by Konami. Um, this specifically, 6 Days of Fallujah being a sort of a game about a 6 day period during the Second Battle of Fallujah, which uh, was one of the bloodiest. It was the bloodiest engagement of the Iraq War.
Yeah, it's
That was sparked by
2004.
the yeah, it was sparked by the death of I believe, four Blackwater uh, mercenaries in the city of Fallujah by I'm not even sure if I can properly identify who killed those mercenaries, but as a result of the death of these mercenaries, American forces basically sealed off the city, prevented people from leaving, and then proceeded to attack and perform this horrid offensive maneuver that saw them going door to door throughout the city and pretty much indiscriminately killing people who they believed, if they believed they had hostile intentions towards the armed forces. They used white phosphorus was used,
Yeah.
and we have never been held accountable for that. So, when this game is being advertised, the gap between the second Battle of Fallujah and when this game is first being advertised is not that long. It's not that long. So when it was originally supposed to come out, it was immediately hit with backlash because this is a very relatively recent event within American history. And so Konami pulled out of that project. All the investors did, and this went quiet until like the 10th or 11th of this month, and we got a new trailer for it, and it looks just as bad as it did back then.
Yeah, and I will say like tone deaf as well. From like I don't know why. I think of this as the original creator from that team is
Yeah,
one of the ones who
Peter
want to bring it back. What was his name? He said Peter.
Peter Tamte. He is the CEO of a company called Victura. He is attempting to, and this company is made of a lot of ex-Bungie talent, so Halo, Destiny
Yeah,
talent, and
they're the ones who worked on that Golem VR game before.
yeah, and they're trying to sort of sell this as a new tactical shooter that is very sort of boots on the ground, messy, wants to talk about the originally in the trailer that they showed, which does not talk about the fact that this was does not talk about the context behind the second Battle of Fallujah. It does not mention how like the city was cordoned off and like coalition forces, the Allied coalition being like mostly made up of forces from the United States and Britain, kept people from leaving. Um, and and so all this trailer is like some gameplay, like looking in-game engine stuff, and a number of interviews, quick interview snippets from uh, U.S. servicemen who spoke with the studio about this.
Yeah, and the I remember the original pitch of this game is that they had talked to a lot of service members and Marines who had participated in the battle
Yeah,
and given testimonies. And then when Peter Tamte was or Tamte was asked about like the white phosphorus stuff, he was like, "Oh, nobody we spoke with brought it up, so that's not something that is in the story that we're telling." And that's like the most bullshit answer you could give
yeah.
someone.
So like this trailer comes out on the, I believe, 11th, and a few days later, one of the first articles I see afterwards is this interview on GameIndustry.biz by James Batchelor. Um, and the title for this is 6 Days in Fallujah Dev. I don't think we need to portray the atrocities, and that's a quote. And one of the things that stands out here, and this is a quote straight from the article, is: "Are we effective?" When this is a depiction of its speaking about Tom's desire
Yeah.
to sort of avoid these things, avoid things like talking about white phosphorus and how like the actual context behind the battle. Are we effectively sanitizing events? I don't think that we question mark. I don't think that we need to portray the atrocities in order for people to understand the human cost of Fallujah.
That's crazy. And
It is
this guy
insane.
is just trying to sell a product, man.
No, he's definitely trying to sell a product, and this, like this article. I will say, like the best thing about this article is that James is very much like not having it with this within this write up, and properly kind of like chides like the the quotes here within the work of his piece, and it's so horrid. Like if you read this, I would encourage anyone who listens to this to read this interview, because like Peter keeps talking about how he wants to tell these compelling, interesting, and human stories at the heart of this uh, conflict and absolute horrid event. But he doesn't want to focus on the people who are like actual victims of this event. Like he doesn't want to focus on the people who were not allowed to leave the city and were forced to survive a offensive that they had no way of properly like they had no help with.
Yeah.
It's disgusting.
And there's this really good, like I was listening to Jeff Gerstmann on Giant Bomb talk about this, and there's a really good thing he kept bringing up, which is like, okay, you want to tell an interesting story about these soldiers. You don't have to tell it in this context. You can do it with something else.
Yeah.
Like, as you said, this is an atrocity. Yeah.
Yeah. And like, I think one of the most revealing quotes, and I'm gonna read a bit of this graph, is sort of the view with which Tamte approaches the idea of, say, perhaps having this game be made specifically from the perspective of a civilian who is forced to endure this. Quote begins, "Very few people are curious what it's like to be an Iraqi civilian. Nobody's going to play that game. But people are curious what it's like to be in combat. It's the same reason people play survival horror games. Being in a situation that is beyond what we have in our normal lives. Ultimately, the reason why people are going to play this game is because they want a more realistic combat experience. That, above all else, is the experience we must deliver."
Oh yeah, a realistic combat experience. Jesus Christ, people fucking play Call of Duty. They're fine. This game's not gonna come out. I mean, this game, there is like a slim percentage that this game comes out and blows everybody out of the water. But besides that, this is just gonna be like another black mark on the history of video games. It's alright. Fuck it.
Yeah, I don't have any confidence in this team in that way, especially like after like reading all these interviews and just seeing like we want to tell a human story, but we don't want to tell a human story about like people we don't perceive as human. And it's disgusting. I can't imagine having any faith in these people in this studio and in this person to tell this story in a way that would not be horrendous.
Yeah, I think these people are misguided. Honestly, it's crazy.
Well, it's not even. It's just like there's just an arrogance to it. Like, if you go onto Victura's website and go to the 6 Days of Fallujah website, and there's a why page. Like, why are we making this game? One of the graphs in it is when we first announced this game, people were upset, and it goes on, and I'm not going to quote the thing fully because I don't have it in front of me, but it goes on to say, like, the reason people are upset is because they don't view games as an art form that can handle this subject properly. They discount the idea of games as a emotional art form. We think they're wrong. And it reveals that they've absolutely learned nothing.
No, I agree. It's crazy.
I don't know, man. It's like it wasn't the thing. Of course, it's not like the thing I was angriest about this week, considering that like the entire state we live in just like lost most of its power, but like it was pretty high up there.
Yeah, and I think this is gonna come out, and we're all gonna forget about it because nobody really gives a shit about these. Like, how many people are clamoring at the heels for it? Nobody is asking for this fucking game, and not in the places I'm looking at. There's probably people who are like, oh, why didn't this game come out? I love military history. Like, nobody is clamoring for this game to come out. Like, I remember the last time people were the Medal of Honor reboot was really big into like the military history stuff and the tier 1 operators. And I think one of the developers like left bullet for some person they were interviewing during that game too. It's really fucking crazy.
Yeah, and then I remember like, this Medal of Honor thing was like what, Urban Warfare or something.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was the thing, but they had the reboot, and in the multiplayer one, the sides you played as was the Taliban in their original like E3 showings, but they changed that to the enemy forces.
Yeah, I think it was like Ops 4. Yeah, is what they renamed him.
Yeah, so it's just,
God, what was this?
I mean, it's never been about people thinking video games can't handle this type of thing. It's always been about the perspectives developers are prioritizing, and it's never been the perspectives that we should be telling this conflict from.
Yeah, I agree. It's all fucking stupid. These guys are idiots. Do something else with your time.
Yeah, I don't need. Well, I mean, they don't think they're idiots, and they don't see a problem with sanitizing what should be considered a war crime in order to make it U.S. military propaganda.
Yeah, I mean, thankfully there are people online who go against these people, like James Batchelor on GamesIndustry.biz, who actually have like a sense of moral fiber in them, who realize, oh, these guys are crazy, we need to expose them. And I'm really glad these articles come out for it, and probably videos along with it.
Yeah, I'm very glad these are not like passive interviews I'm reading. Like even the ones like the write-ups of this interview that I'm not really impressed with kind of acknowledge that this is really fraught territory.
Yeah, so I'm gonna sanitize myself with these and look at these Animal Crossing mangas that are coming out, Austin. They're very good. Unless you had some other thoughts about it, I think we kind of hit all the.
They have a comic. I think we hit everything we need to hit with this with these waste of people, and really talent. This manga looks nice. It has a calming presence about it.
Yeah. How many of these has come out so far? Is this the first volume? I think it's the first volume. Deserted Island Diary, Austin, by Viz Media. Oh, they had some other mangas. Look at these. New Leaf and Wild World also had mangas last year.
Is that what the animal? Is that what the Animal Crossing manga is called?
Yeah.
I don't see. This doesn't look deserted. I see a lot of people.
Oh no, it's not deserted. I could buy 2 of these fucking. I guess this is New Leaf mangas for $70. I wouldn't spend my money on that. Not for $70. You get a lot of things for $70. Yeah, Animal Crossing is cool.
I mean, they'll like $70 is going to be what it is for a bit, but in like a couple months maybe they'll be 50.
Oh, those are the old. Those are some older, rarer manga. Those are the New Leaf mangas, not the current one that's coming out. Oh, Bungie's doing some stuff, actually. We were talking about Bungie. They are expanding their studio, and they moved their headquarters. It quadrupled in size, and they're focusing on Destiny-related media. I think they were talking about wanting to put a TV show together. But they are expanding to bring at least one new IP by 2025, as well as the commitment to the long-term development of Destiny 2. Which, hey, that's cool. I'm hoping they come out with like a bigger DLC, because they have these smaller things coming out, which is like Beyond Light and the next one that's going to come out after that. But I think they're going to have like a bigger one for next-gen consoles and stuff.
Yeah, I'm glad they're taking these sort of steps to do something other than Destiny. Like that's kind of been my thing with Bungie, is I like them as a studio. I just don't like Destiny in its framework in any way. I will say I think it's quite interesting. Like when we talk about other job listings for like their new IP. In this article, it's like back in June of 2020, job listings were found suggesting the studio's new IP will be comedic and feature whimsical characters.
Oh, yeah. It's
which
just
I don't
it's
know
just
if.
all Cade 6.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna go to Bungie for comedy, but you know, why not, right?
Yeah, let's go for it. Fuck it.
Maybe it'll be the remake of Oni.
Yeah, I was about to say, man, I played that game back in the day. That game was weird. That was like a how do I describe Oni? Oni is not Ghost in the Shell, but it's just Ghost in the Shell.
Yeah, and there's another one. There's another shooter that was kind of Doom adjacent they worked on. I can't remember the
Is it
name of it.
Marathon?
I think it was. It might have been
Yeah.
Marathon.
Yo, Marathon's remastered on Xbox and PC, I think. You can get that remastered version of that game. It looks nice. It looks alright. Marathon doesn't look too bad.
Yeah, I
I'll
remember
fuck with it
the
sometime.
naming conventions of Marathon being very wild.
Yeah, and Marathon is like some people are like, "Oh yeah, Marathon and Halo are connected because Marathon takes place like 2,000 years after Halo or some shit." It's like, okay.
Sure, why not?
Oh, this Pokemon shit was coming out too. Do you want this fucking Pokemon tuxedo? Fucking
No.
god ugliest thing I've ever fucking seen. It's got so many Pokemon on it though.
I think I could rock the pants, but I don't think I could rock the top half.
Yeah, I think I'd switch. I'd take the top half, wear them with some black jeans and some boots. Cardboard Doom though. Yo, I'm watching this video. Let's go, Cardboard Doom. Cardboard Doom's pretty cool. Some guy made a bunch of Doom 2 levels out of cardboard.
Sorry, I'm still looking at the Pokemon pants.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's a fun video.
Yeah.
I could not imagine having the kind of craft ability needed to make this work in any way, which is what makes it really impressive.
And he's got the noises down very well. He shot a demon, and then now there's like a match being lit behind it, burning it alive. It's great. And he's got like there's like the weapon sway in the middle. It's very good.
And one of the most impressive things is like the use of the chainsaw, and like that is also just cardboard,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And the way that they sort of demonstrates or shows it going like cutting across a enemy is very interesting because there's no way like the frame flashing I think is kind of the edit for replacing the cardboard cutout of the I guess demon soldier to show like the chainsaw going through it as he like cuts it violently maybe with some scissors, but it's a very interesting.
How far in the video? I can't find the chainsaw.
It's 3 minutes.
Oh, there it is. Yeah.
Specifically like 3 minutes 10 seconds.
It's good. It looks like a stop motion.
Yeah.
Thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And,
that's fun.
And just like getting cardboard to cut in a way that is convincing like that is generally speaking challenging for me.
I'm into it.
So I think it's relatively impressive.
Yeah. You know, this other thing is impressive. It's not that impressive, but fucking there's that Metallica concert on Twitch, and Twitch's channel didn't have the rights to it. So they were just playing like shitty lo-fi at the background kind of.
Yeah, this was like BlizzCon, right? Like this was at BlizzCon.
Yeah. So Blizzard's channel had the rights to Metallica music, but Twitch's like own channel where they're advertising it did not. So royalty-free music they played over it.
That's wild. Yeah, this is specifically on the Twitch gaming channel where they were broadcasting a different version of BlizzCon outside of the official Blizzard. So this is insane. It's crazy.
Yeah. I think that's about it for the week. We'll probably talk next week about more games we played. I didn't really play much this week. Headlines is that they put Lost Planet 2 on Games with Gold, and I played the shit out of that. But We can talk
I
about that next week.
didn't really. I mean, need power to play some stuff. I played Kentucky Route Zero some more.
Yeah,
when I had battery in my Switch.
Ah, yes. When the vibes came. Oh my god, the other fucking thing that happened was that they had that fucking WandaVision shit where it was just a Malcolm in the Middle episode of WandaVision. I thought that was a good get.
Yeah, I mean,
Just thinking about stuff.
I don't know if we have to break into like a WandaVision breakdown, but like
No.
that episode was interesting in like the fact that it kind of just shows that they kind of just skipped the 90s.
Oh yeah, yeah. No Roseanne for you.
Fortunately.
Yeah.
And went straight to Malcolm in the Middle. That was a fun sort of thing to do before like the sitcom that they kind of jumped into this last episode.
Yeah. So that show keeps continuing to be interesting. But I think that's it for the podcast. Wow, I guess we'll bounce out for this Sunday. Where can people find you out on Twitter, Austin?
If you need to find me on Twitter, which I'm doing my best to keep from being the rantings of a very angry leftist, you can find me at Weirdless2, TWO.
And I'm at Travis23 Doyle. We'll catch y'all next time.
See you later.
Yeet.